everyone, and welcome back to Rooted with Aiysha. I'm your host, Aiysha and and today it is Friday. Oof, mm, Friday, and it is, it is impeccable that we are even here because we are literally on the cusp of not only a new month, but we're literally on the cusp of practically being done with the year. Because August is smack dab. August, September, October, November, December, January. So this year, literally, it felt like the other day that we watched Stranger Things and we saw the finale and we were wondering like what the Halle Berry just happened. What happened to 11? Rang in the new year, watched the Academy Awards, and here we are. It is so crazy. But I also just want to thank you all so much for watching my videos, my shorts, and also just want to thank you all for your partnership on this channel because this is a partnership where all of you have invested in me, planted roots, and are growing with me. So I just want to thank you all for doing that. And my overall goal is also to make this a growth process and a growth journey and not just a process of, this is what I'm doing. Ha 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 ha. Ha. No, this is a growth journey. I may try some things, fail on some things, learn from some things, but also find peace and beauty in a lot of things. So I'm grateful for this journey and also this process that we're going on, but I'm also going to respect everyone's journey and their paths. So I also want to keep that in mind, most importantly. And in addition to that, I also want to make sure that we don't do our housekeeping first. Where given that this is Resource Friday, I also want to mention that if you have not already, please go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. That is important. And in addition to that, make sure that you share, like, share, and comment by share, so that way the YouTube multiverse knows that you find value in this YouTube channel because oftentimes videos are from creators, either if they're creators of that are not in a relationship, not booed up, and not promoting a certain form of content, their content may not be readily available to everyone. So please share. Yes, indeed. Just refresh with some rose water because it is Friday, y'all. So yes, your girl just refreshed with some rose water. There's something that caught my eye, and I'm like, what in the Halle Berry? Listen, so we're uncut over here. So back to what I was saying. Yeah, so support growing channels and be a part of our journey as we continue to grow and also expand and get into so many other things. And in addition to what we're going to be talking about today, also, if I probably said this, but if I'm probably being repetitive, but here I go again, please go ahead and subscribe to the Ground Bag Podcast on Substack. And most importantly speaking, please go ahead on make sure that you listen to the podcast episodes that I'm going to be publishing and also give our podcast on Substack, as well as on Spotify and all streaming platforms so you can listen to your podcast a star if you can and leave a review. And most importantly speaking, follow me on my journey because I'm growing, we're growing, we are discovering what we want from what we don't want. And we're also seeing what we desire out of life. And my lip gloss needs to be popped. Uh-huh. Yes, honey. It's Friday, so we're being free today. This is the spiked hot chocolate Fenty Beauty. Chris, birthday gift. Last birthday gift. Um, Yes. So today we're going to be talking about why does work make you anxious, as well as free workspace anxiety tools that can help. Because ultimately speaking, And I'll provide those resources as links because I want to make sure that this video is short and sweet, but also that you're able to get the gist of what we're doing here. Because another thing is that we have different forms of anxieties that we carry to work. And sometimes it can be what's going on in our lives. Sometimes our workspaces may not make us feel comfortable, or sometimes they may be traumas, tragedies, individuals that we may encounter that make us feel uncomfortable, or just the overall element that work can also give is that you are ultimately trying to survive. But what specific parts of work trigger your anxiety? I know for me, I never really had anxiety, but what would trigger the feelings of overwhelming is when questions kept coming to me and others weren't immersing themselves in my department as I was in theirs in my previous workplace, where I was the end all be all to my department, and others who also was knowledgeable in some ways didn't push themselves to learn the way that I was learning their departments. And in some ways, it didn't balance the scale. And it also created a lot of burnout. So I would say that is a question that I want you to be left with is what specific parts of work trigger your anxiety, but also how you're able to channel that in a way that is supportive of you, but also that holds others accountable. Because over time, if we don't address these feelings, it comes out in ways that we are not aware of, and then bam, they could be explosive. And then we're wondering, oh, snap, I know that I had all of that in me. Apparently you do. So it's important that we have a healthy way of channeling that, but it's also important that we have those free and in-depth conversations. And if you can't have it at work, if you can't have it in your house, or you can't have it with your friends, have it with your friends, meaning us. Talk to us. And if you want to email me, you can email me at askrooted@gmail.com if you want to email me your questions. So when it comes to do I feel pressure to hide my stress, sometimes by default, we turn off our stress. We turn it all off. We turn it completely off. And then we also go through the process of is some things are automatic. I know I have to do this. I know I have to eat. I know I have to bathe. I know I have to or try. Or I know that I have to lose weight. Or I know that I have to call mom. I know that I have to do X, Y, and Z. I know that I need to work. I know that I need to, you know that you need to do something. But it's also a matter of how do you hide the fact that you're overwhelmed? How do you hide the fact that you sometimes may not want to bathe? How do you hide the fact that you sometimes may stress eat or don't eat, or you don't take your vitamins, or you limit your overall capacity to helping yourself navigate difficult and hard, really hard moments. And I think that is something that as human beings, we get so comfortable in seeing the strongest person in the room and be like, okay, this person is here. We are gonna be good. They got me. They got me. But then we get lost and we get so focused on our limitations that we also lose sight that the same individuals in the same room as you who did the same amount of work, that you are capable of completing those tasks that you feel limited in doing. So that is why it's very important for us to really stay focused and be present in knowing that hiding our stress can only be hidden. It's almost like a volcano. It's gonna keep giving tremors until it explodes. So before it does that, let's have these conversations. And what would a safe work environment feel like for me? Sometimes it could feel like you're able to talk to your manager about any or anything. You're able to feel as if other individuals are team players just as you are. Sometimes it can feel as if you wish that the work culture was really, as it says, people and mental health first, or more resources for mental health, especially if you're working with customers or if you're more service presenting, because anytime that you're working with customers or social work or mental health, you're going to have your those obstacles where individuals, you can burnout is real, and sometimes the PTO doesn't solve it. So you can literally be on PTO and you can be literally thinking about, I hope my department holds up when I'm gone, or I hope I'm able to land back where I was landing when I was working. and have the same opportunities to be able to navigate the process. Because sometimes that can be very hard and very difficult when you're trying to really navigate the process. And it can also feel very debilitating where you're trying to really see how does all of that work for you. So I would honestly say a safe environment feels like it can feel safe because you know someone, familiarity, you can find the treasure in the trial, but it can also feel like survival. Like, you have to work, you have to be here, shoe fly, don't bother me. And you create the safety for you. You can maybe burn some sage, or you can literally burn essential oils, and you can literally set up your intentions and make your place feel homey, or have your favorite snow globes on your desk. So there's different elements that we find safety. And also, sometimes what can make our environments feel unsafe is if we're holding on to tension that we haven't processed. It could either be with an interaction you had with management, interaction you had with your fellow peer, or it can very well be an interaction you had at home, and the same individual at work is trying you the same way that someone else just tried you before you came up in the building. So it's a buildup. And the saddest thing is that if we're holding on to something that we haven't processed, it can literally create the volcano. And we're going to keep using that word, the volcano, if until we know how to process it, and until we seek the tools needed to help us navigate it. Because sometimes the tools can also be therapeutic, or it can also be through the form of ADA accommodations if you have to take that time off work, and also sometimes spiritual if you confide with your spiritual leader or with your pastor, or if you have that grounding and you need to take that time off work, then many individuals do that. So there's many tools that can help support that, but also what makes you feel grounded during the workday. So, like I said, many people burn a candle, many people say a prayer, many people develop a routine of self-care for you in the morning. So that way, when you get to work, you don't feel as if you're pouring into others and not yourself. And that's where I went wrong, is I was not pouring into me the way I should be pouring into me. That's why even with what I'm doing now, because I work in crisis care and and also therapeutic care, I'm also rediscovering myself, but also pouring back into me health wise. It could be through weight loss, it could be through discovering who I am, it could be through developing a challenge of this is what I'm going to eat for about 30 days, see if it works, or just doing things that's me centered. Or that's centered towards me becoming a better version of me so that I can be a better version for everyone else. So I would say that's my goal this season, is pouring back into me and resetting my whole metabolic system. Because when you're in grad school and when you're also trying to balance other things, you can forget about yourself, and you could also lose sight of the most important things. So I would honestly say is that we're living in a world where we are so focused on the superficial things, but we're also so focused on the things that are the opposite of what we should be focusing on. And image, appearance, what's your favorite hairstyle, or just those things. And sometimes that can also take the place of the beauty and the purpose behind the individual that's talking back at you. So it is my hope that we are able to have these in-depth conversations even more. And resources that might also be helpful is there is the ADAA. Those are resources that I will be sharing in the comments. I'm sorry, in the description box, and the NAMI network, Hey Peers, and also there's so many other resources out there that are linked to what you may like. Like it could be painting, or it could be going to a museum, or it could be music, or it could be developing a passion for the arts, or for reading, or for just different things that you find interesting that supports you and that speaks to you and reminds you. So I would honestly say, I hope that we are aligning together. But the most important thing is that we are remembering and reminding ourselves that there's always that silver lining. There's always that rainbow. But there's always that moment where we can say no, that we're gonna put our mask on first and everyone else will be second. And that's the hardest thing to do. So I ask you right now to close your eyes, inhale slowly, and exhale slowly, and say that I choose me and I'm proud of me. I'm proud that I completed this week, and I'm going to embrace every day as if it's my last, because any day can be our last. And it doesn't mean that you need to go buck a while and get a speeding ticket. It means that we are pouring into ourselves and prioritizing ourselves the same way that we prioritize social media, watching TV, the World Cup, everything. Because we're living in times, even now more than ever. I know y'all keep probably saying, you keep saying that, but yeah, we're living in some different times where we have to be very intentional in what we do, what we say, and also purposeful in where we are. So it is my hope that we're able to grow together and with each other. And most importantly speaking, just know that support exists even in times like this, even in moments when you feel as if there is none. So please know that this is your moment to reset. And if you didn't get a chance to reset from the beginning of this video, I typically include a 1 minute reset. We just did our reset together. Sometimes you only have a second, so I'm not going to keep you too long. So take what resonates with you today from this video. Have an amazing weekend and keep being kind to yourself. And until next time, you stay safe, stay blessed, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and just know that you are not alone. We're here to support you, and I'm here as well. Bye for now and take care.